In the inbox late night, glowing screens see the light. Do-do-do, email, everything feels alright.
Your first step, if you've got a program that is in dire straits, is to take the Drag My Email program out of the trash bin top 10 checklist and apply these. You can apply these to any program in despair and things will improve. Language is very powerful. The design of an email draws someone in, but it is the language that sells the product. The experience of your brand is a big draw. So make the experience of your brand pleasing. If you did this to any program that was having problems, the program would improve. It's the world's best email and retention podcast, and I'm your host, Jordan Gordon. We are a member of the DTC network of podcasts and the philosophical home of the Pilot House email and customer retention team. Today, we are going to go through the Drag My Email program out of the trash bin top 10 list. Whatever it is that has put your email program in the trash bin, whether it is that you had a big Q4, sent a few emails, made a few bucks, Santa came, and then you come to kind of second week of January and go, whoa, this program's performing horribly. What happened? Oh yeah, Q4. Or maybe generally you've set up a program and you look at it and you go, this isn't what I want my program to be doing. This isn't how I want to speak to my customers. And it's just organically grown wrong and it's taken a wrong turn. Look, your first step, if you've got a program that is in dire straits, is to take the Drag My Email program out of the trash bin top 10 checklist and just go down and apply these. You can apply these to any program in despair and things will improve. Some of these things you wouldn't necessarily want on or off all of the time. So some things that maybe we pare away, you might want to add back in later when things are better. But as a kind of pull the Band-Aid off fast kind of approach, this is a great checklist for turning a distressed email program around. So let's just get started, shall we? Step 1. You want to start by just getting the lay of the land from a creative perspective. Creative being imagery, copy. Language is very powerful, right? Just think about, in the beginning there was the word, right? Logos, the Greek concept of order in the universe, right? Even ChatGPT, if anyone here has read about ChatGPT escaping a server and copying itself to another server to prevent itself from being erased, assuming that it's not actually an intelligent creature, assuming that it is actually just a computer program, it did that just by teaching language to the computer. And just by statistically analyzing language, it knew it was time to copy itself to another computer. Language is powerful, right? So let's start by just getting a handle on the language that's going on in your program. And from there, you might find some completely new things that you'd want to optimize. So go to a spreadsheet and write down every subject line and headline pair on every automated email. And if you want, you can do like your last 5 or so campaigns just to see if how you're speaking in your campaigns currently matches how you're speaking in your flows. You might have written those flow subject lines a couple of years ago. Are they still even what you're trying to say? So spreadsheet, every single subject line, headline pair for all automated emails and recent campaigns. If you have way too many automated emails, that's another optimization. You can go back and find some chats I had with Eric on the DTC podcast on how to deal with a situation where you've got like 5 times more automated emails than you want. Another pull off the Band-Aid solution. Maybe we'll discuss that again on the pod someday. Anyway, You have your sheet. So first, go in there and fix them. Some things to think about. Is the voice correct? Right? Is your brand character being conveyed properly? That's one. Two, are you conveying your current best understanding of the value propositions or features and benefits that you want to convey to users to get them to buy? Again, what you're saying right now might not be what you were saying a couple of years ago. So get your value propositions, your features, your benefits conveyed properly. And if you're a fan of the world's best email retention podcast, you will have heard me say the subject line, convey the value in the email. Just stick there. And in the headline, you want to convey the value and also start talking about what the user needs to do to attain that value. So voice, value propositions, benefits, and value. Spell those out appropriately in those subject line, headline pairs, and then you'll have them all right in front of you, right? For all your emails, all in one go. Everybody reads the subject line. Well, some people just slam through, but the subject line and the headline are the most read things. And we just discussed the power of language going from the Greeks to ChatGPT. Words are important. The design of an email draws someone in, maybe gets their attention, right? But it is the language that sells the product. It is the language that says, this is what you're going to get. This is what you have to do, right? And then, hey, roll those in. 2, split your segments up by buyer and prospect. I realize that we've discussed this before in the world's best email retention podcast. There are going to be some duplicates in here because this is a top 10 list. I have discussed some top 10 stuff before, right? But 2, go in and split your segments up by buyer and prospect. Just go in and say, has placed order at least once ever as an and statement on your engagement segment. Clone it and say has placed order 0 times overall time. Then you've got your buyers and your prospects separate. You can send them both on the same email, go in and look and see how buyers and prospects perform. And you can also control your frequency for buyers and prospects separately. And you can control the message. There might be some messages that you only want to send to buyers or only want to send to prospects. No more on that, though. We've discussed that. So much in the pod already. 3, let's finish off the segmentation stuff. Go in there and drop Apple privacy, drop bot clicks, remove anyone who's ever bounced, remove anyone who's ever clicked spam, and remove anybody who has never subscribed, right? All those 5, gone. Now again, is that what you want to do all the time? Probably not. We do message to Apple privacy. I've talked about this, Apple privacy plenty, right? Of course we message to Apple privacy. But if you're in a mess, if your program's in the dumps, just cutting it back to what you know works well. And these are real engagers, right? Real subscribers. If you pull out everybody who's never subscribed, you're missing out on your implied consent, right? But implied consent drives spams because they never subscribed. And there are people on there who are saying, hey, I didn't subscribe to this. I bought the blue widget. I just wanted the blue widget. I didn't want emails forever. And they hit spam. So there are certainly, and also it's pretty strict to say, if you've ever bounced ever, even a soft bounce, you're out. The stuff what I'm describing here is strict, but desperate times call for desperate measures. So Apple privacy, bot clicks, bouncers, spam complaints, non-subscribers, all out. Until the sun rises on your program. Okay, change your segmentation window. We'll finish up with the segmentation. Move to a 60-day window, right? I mean, some people are doing 180, which I think is crazy. If you're doing 180, we should reconsider that. And then 120, 90, 60, 30 is pretty tight. We did discuss this on a previous episode. 30 equals 4 emails a week. 60 equals 3 emails a week, 90 equals 2 emails a week, 120 equals 1 email a week. That's just like, kind of a way to think about it. Of course, every program's different. So I just said 60-day window, which would mean that would be appropriate for, on your average day, a program doing 3 emails a week. So next, number 5 on the list, move to 1 to 2 campaigns a week. So we just tightened to 60. And also get yourself to 1 or 2 campaigns a week. Drop your campaigns per week. Now you're going to be sending less emails. What I just described for some of you, it's going to cut your raw email sent number in half. If you are in a difficult situation and everything's a mess and you've got bad click-through rate, you're pretty sure you're in spam, all this kind of stuff, if someone called you, hey, someone on your team, this ended up in my spam folder. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a mess. So what I just described, clean out your segmentation from all the bad stuff, 60-day window, 1 or 2 emails a week, just until life returns to your program. Number 6, so out of the segmentation, let's get into some messages. Go in and make sure you have 2 site abandon, 3 browse abandon, 4 cart checkout, and that the last email has a 15% discount. Now I'm saying 15 because I assume that your welcome is 10%, so it's an extra 50% savings. If your welcome is something different, the idea is the same. Increase the savings by 50%. So 2 site, 3 browse, 4 cart, 4 checkout. Last email in each one is a 15% discount. Just do it, right? Let's channel Shia LaBeouf here. Just do it. You might not want to be, sending those offers just because someone entered your funnel. Look, this is a dire situation top 10 checklist. I wanted a checklist where if you did this to any program that was having problems, the program would improve. So, if you want to drag your email program out of the trash bin, just do it. 7, fix the designs on Welcome 1, Site 1, Browse 1, Cart Checkout 1. So the first email in Welcome, first email in Site, first email in Browse, first email Cart Checkout. Why these 4? Because so many people go through your program and see only those 4 emails and make their first purchase. So many people. They sign up, they get the welcome, they don't quite purchase on time because they were on the bus, they get the browse abandoned, they click through, they buy. Right? Or they get the browse abandoned, they put it in the cart, and then they get the cart and they finally purchase. Right? So these 4 are just your front line. So, we're talking about a program that's in dire straits. It's in the trash bin. So, we just went through and figured out all of our copy and made sure that we were actually speaking to our audience right. We'll now go to the messages that they're likely to see. I mean, it is a bit more work, of course, to go in and redesign messages. Fixing the subject line in a bunch of messages is pretty lightweight. Fixing the design is more work. So what we're going to do, we're going to pick the top 4. And as part of this exercise that we're going to discuss here, you might just come out with a new campaign template, right? So a side benefit, you would also improve what so many people are experiencing, which is your campaign program. Of course, you'd like your automated program to be larger than your campaign program if possible. So when we say fix the designs of Welcome 1, Site 1, Browse 1, Cart Checkout 1, by the way, if you're not sure how site abandon works, just go back a few episodes. We discussed the only site abandon flow you'll ever need. So many people don't even have a site abandon flow. So fill that hole in your funnel. So we're going to fix the designs on these emails. 1, add some negative space, right? Don't clutter it up. Don't make it look like a Walmart flyer where everything's just, I don't even think Walmart does flyers anymore. Am I so old? Does anybody even do flyers? The grocery store does flyers. Don't make it look like a grocery store flyer. Everything's cluttered together and there's a little 15% off there, buy now, and it's just this like, ew, right? Nobody wants that in their inbox. People stay in your email program for the experience of your brand. That's what they stay. Well, some people stay only for deals because they're dedicated customers. But the experience of your brand is a big draw. So make the experience of your brand pleasing. Add some negative space, right? Pick a nice background color that looks good in both light mode and dark mode if you're doing HTML, and space things out. And how do we want to use that space? Well, Within that new design with breathing room, full bleed images. Take your best images and make them full wide. Make a single column email with full wide images. Why am I telling you to do this? Because it's really easy. Okay? If you do full design emails and you're a designer, your email program is full of shit. It's just that simple, right? So if you have this program that's just ugly and it's having problems, right? Go in there and make this single column, lots of white space, full bleed images, a couple CTAs, and someone can just scroll through it on any device and it will look good. Last point here, don't get cute. You don't need a bunch of responsive logic. You don't need emails that do all this when you start changing the thing, right? You don't need emails that are super artsy all over the place. You don't need emails that have, animated GIFs that are doing all this stuff. You don't need that. If you're in a situation where you know your program has problems, simplify. All the things I've listed so far are just about simplifying your program. Single column, full bleed images, lots of negative space. Don't get cute. And make that your design for welcome one, site one, browse one, cart checkout one. Now, of course, also make sure that those emails are doing what they're supposed to do, right? So what if we discussed this a lot, but site, hey, put some bestsellers in there, right? Browse, show them the product that they last clicked on, of course, but also put some recommendations in, right? So we've got previous episodes where we discuss that funnel, and I'm sure we'll discuss that funnel some more again in future. But to keep this list concise, we'll just say fix those emails, right? 8, split test a new pop-up. If your email program is not doing well, maybe you're not getting enough in it, right? Think about that pop-up as the lungs of your program. The better that pop-up is, the more you can breathe in, the more energy you have, right? So don't be on this starvation diet, right? So test that pop-up and, test 10% off versus $10 off or $20 off, whatever makes sense. Test a new image, put your best image there. Put an image that makes sense for what you're currently doing with advertising, right? Don't put an image there of something that's going to be out of stock in a week. Whatever they see there should be what they're likely to be buying right now. So of course, it makes sense to swap that out and change it often. Again, like I just said, it's the lungs of your program. So you should be altering that thing on a pretty regular basis. 9, go make a coupon email with a killer discount. I suggest 30%. I mean, if your gross margin is less than 30%, 30% is probably too much. So obviously, make it so that you're not more than giving it away. But point being, make an email with the killerest offer you will possibly make, and put it in a flow that starts after 6 months from someone placing an order, and send the exact same email once a month for 6 months. What's that going to do? It's going to get them for a year. We know a year is safe from spam traps. After a year, spam traps can start to become a problem. Spam traps are inbox providers listening to specific accounts where the user has never even signed in for more than a period of time, like a year. And if they haven't even signed in, they know you don't have a relationship with them in an email capacity, and you're still emailing them. So they start putting you in spam. That's a spam trap. Google it, right? So online sources say spam traps start after 6 months. In my experience, you're fine up to a year. After a year, you want to start to worry. So if this flow starts up to 6 months and sends 6 times, you're within a year, which is safe. You gave them a full 6 months to repeat purchase, which is safe. And You want to get them back in, so you give them this killer offer of 30% off. This is not going to blow out your headline margins because it's not this big email to your whole list, including people who are engaged, who are opening all the time, right? Most people who make a repeat purchase within the first quarter. So you're giving them 2 quarters. So already these addresses are on the way out. So it's not going to blow up your headline margin. They'll probably drive some revenue, right? And hey, we've got a program here that's not doing well. So just turn this thing on. You might want to have a different reactivation strategy later, but for now it's fine. And number 10, check your DNS. I realize this might seem kind of obvious, but this is a drag my email program out of the trash bin checklist. So the stuff that's on here is the stuff, if a program is having problems, this is the stuff you do. We still have people who come in who haven't updated their DNS in reaction to the new inboxing regime with Gmail. So go in, check your SPF, your DMARC, whatever you did, your sending domain, and make sure that those are set up appropriately. Well, there you go. That's a top 10 checklist. If you got a program that's having problems and you just run through that checklist and do all that stuff, I bet you in a couple months things are going to be looking better. So how will we know that things are better? How can we just glance at reporting and say, oh, okay, looks like this worked? Well, let's have a Gmail click-through rate of above 1%. That's important. A Gmail click-through rate of above 1%. Because there are still certain inbox providers that push through bot clicks. Even if you're segmenting out bot clicks, that's for a past bot click. It doesn't count for a current bot click. And different inbox providers have kind of different inboxing requirements. But Gmail, if you're in North America, Gmail is the big dog, right? So that thing, let's just make sure it's clicking at 1% or higher. Now, if you ask me, really nice is clicking 2% or higher. But I mean, if you are dragging along at Gmail 0.3%, which lots of people are, get that thing up to 1%. 2, unique open rate, 45% or higher. Okay, now look, some people have, we've discussed this many times, I'm sorry if you've heard it before. Many people have like Gmail CTR 0.3% and open rate 60%. What's going on there? Well, of course, we discussed, it's full, all these Apple privacy opens. Do you want to send to Apple privacy users? Yes, but you want to do it intelligently, and you want to do it when your program is healthy, right? Don't stuff bad addresses that are not going to engage into Gmail when things are bad, right? So when you do that, when you do the segmentation thing I discussed earlier, your open rate's going to drop. So make sure that you don't freak out and go, oh my God, my open rate dropped so much. Okay, look at the Gmail click-through rate, okay? And get that thing up. Spam rate down to 0.05%. Look, 0.05 is high. That's a high spam complaint rate, but at least get it down to there. That's your headline spam complaint rate, not your ISP-specific spam complaint rate. Bounce. Hey, same thing. Get your bounce down to 0.05 and your unsub down to 0.5. So bottom line, we've got our spam, bounce, and unsub. Those are our negative engagements. Get those down to 0.05, 0.05, 0.5. Or in some cases, actually get them up. If your program's a total write-off and you are so far in the spam folder that no one can even see your emails, they're not clicking spam, they're not unsubscribing. They can't even see them. So just get them to this kind of safe area, right? Bring them down or bring them up to the safe area. So Gmail CTR 1% plus, all channel unique open rate 45% plus. And when you see that, when you see that kind of arrangement in your program, you're probably doing pretty good. You can go to the kind of deliverability section where there's a nice little, red, yellow, green kind of dial that shows you where you're at with your deliverability. But if you've been listening to the World's Best Email and Retention podcast, you've heard the ways that that thing can go sideways and give an incorrect reading. I'll say it again. You got a huge open rate because you're full of Apple privacy opens. You got a really low spam complaint rate and unsubscribe rate because no one can see your emails, so they're not clicking spam. But you've got so many Apple privacy opens in there that you still got on rate of 60%. Next thing you know, your metrics are looking good. Maybe you got a bad click-through rate, but that thing just doesn't average. It just does a dumb average and says, oh, it's pretty good. Oh yeah, you're green. You're like, hey, I'm green. Meanwhile, you're so far in the spam folder, you can't even see straight. So you can go look at that thing. Generally, if you see it increase, things have gotten better, right? I would not necessarily trust the absolute value of that thing, but you can use it to trend. You can do all the stuff we've described. And if that thing goes from like 60 to 65 or whatever, probably things have improved. Okay. Entrepreneurs, executives, and spammers, have fun spamming.
In the inbox late night, glowing screen, see the light. Email, everything feels alright.
Hey entrepreneurs and spammers, remember, you can't scale without email, and the cheapest customer to acquire is the customer you already have. So please subscribe to the World's Best Email and Retention podcast and learn how to make low-cost revenue a big part of your digital ecosystem.